Right, good morning. Do a little outside job today. Gorgeous weather at the moment. So this is the tale of yet another T25. I'll go through the problems with this one. So this van is a 1.6 turbo diesel. I think it's a conversion. I think it was a Golf engine, I think. Problem with it was the owner was kind of being told they needed a new gearbox, yet they had put one in a year and a half ago, and it was sticking in second and fourth. So basically every time the gear stick came back, it wouldn't go back forward. But what was happening was, now these are the bits off of our one. I'm just wondering, are they any better than what's in theirs? So when you were pulling the gear stick back, that pushes this back to change the gear, and no, sorry, it doesn't, it pulls it forward. And what was happening when it comes forward is this ball is popping out of there. So the bushings in this, on this van, are probably a bit worn, not to mind the ball. This was actually kind of loose on the splines, but then you had to get out and physically open the engine cover and push it back in place to get it back in. So they were stuck with only first and third. They couldn't use second and fourth. There was also another problem with it, and that was it was really hard to pull away with a lack of power. That's where things got really interesting. I sat in to take it for a drive, and instantly I thought, Jesus, this seems high geared. Now what has happened is, it got a gearbox a year and a half ago. No one told the owner that it was a 5-speed. So they had a 4-speed gear knob, which told them they had 4 gears, and a 5-speed gearbox, which was then in turn pulling away in second. So that's why it was a struggle. Yeah. I just, I don't know how no one ever told them that fact, but it's a genuine mistake. It's not there on the gear knob. First gear is not where you would normally expect it to be. I have a 5-speed one that's going to have the wrong order for me, so that's sorted out the markings on the gear knob fairly easily, and I don't think there's any power issue whatsoever, because now that it has a first gear, it pulls away just fine. So yeah, that's not one you hear of every day, but yeah. So I'm just I've taken off the piece on here. Let's clean all this up, and I might take this off and compare it to the one I have off our van. There's a bit of play in this bushing. I'll see if I can get it to work and maybe order a set of bushings then, and replace them at a later stage if I can get it to work for now. But yeah, this is quite a tidy van. It's had a very big restoration in recent years. Bodywork is quite nice on it, and it looks all fairly solid under here too. Right, I'll get on with this. Okay, so I've just put this lever off of our van on there, and instantly I can change gear just fine now, but you can see it's not tight on that on the shaft coming out the gearbox. It's been kind of loose, so it's kind of worn. So what I've done is I've just made a bigger washer that I'm going to put inside of that washer to actually get that lever to tighten up, because I think that bit of sloppiness it'll just wear the splines more for a start, and inevitably create a problem again. So I'm going to I'll put that in now. Alright, there we have a 5-speed. This works out very well for the owner, to be fair, because they came here, I didn't need any parts, and now they've got a 5-speed gearbox as well. So first press down, back there, reverse, second, third, fourth, fifth, fine. Right, test drive. Right, so this is my only day this week to work on the van. I think I can work on it fairly uninterrupted for the day. So I've got to decide what I need to do. I have some bits and pieces on the way, rear brake cylinders, some pipes. Can't remember what else. Oh, the gear stick, the gear change repair, and a few other little things. I do need to go to an engineer place and have them flare the old Passat connection into the clutch slave cylinder, and I also need to probably flare the pipe that comes from the clutch, because it was rotten and it broke off. It was joined with I joined it temporarily with just a piece of PVC tubing, but that needs something a bit better. So I was thinking I might fit a section of flexible brake line in that, so to allow for a bit of movement. So if I get the fittings flared onto the two ends of the pipe, then I can just put on a piece of flexible brake hose, and that could be the clutch hooked up. I will go and mount the filter now, diesel filter, and I need to have a look at the pipe work as well, because I went to order it and there's a lot of variants. They're not particularly cheap. I have all the pipes off the Passat as well, so I kind of need to, like, nothing's probably going to suit perfectly, but I need to work out what I really do need to buy and what is easier just to make work. So yeah, try and take a look at all that stuff today. I really should get a few bits of the fabrication stuff done, because that's time consuming. The intercooler pipe work needs working out as well, so I have a bit of a plan for that, so I'll look at that too. So we'll get on with it. Great. Seems that was actually my fault. I don't know why. I just saved the wrong one to my watch list on thing and just bought it without really looking back at it. So this is the problem here. It's now 3 hours later, and so far I've achieved change my plan on the header bottle and remove it. Yeah, look at pipe work, etc. Gonna mount that diesel filter. Problems with that. I'm out of MIG tips, and then I went trying to clear the MIG tip that I have. That didn't work. Got out the arc welder, then had to go do other things. Looking at pipe work, decided I needed to buy all the pipe work, then looked at it again, decided I didn't. Yeah, kind of feels like getting nothing done, but right, that's got to change. Right, so I relocated the oil filter, welded on the two little box sections like that I had for the header bottle there, and I have made a header bottle bracket which is just painted and hanging outside now, and it's going to bolt onto this and into these two and sit the header bottle just around there. So that takes care of a few problems there. Now what I'm doing next is this. I want the engine 30mm to the left, so what I'm going to start with is moving that angle there where my thumb is back 30mm. So I'm going to cut that off and re-weld that. This is my header tank bracket, which is just got a coat of paint. I'm going to go get some bolts in a minute to actually fit it. We'll get on with this for now. Right, that's that cut back. Lost a bit of the buttressing behind, but it's alright. I've been putting that off and putting it off, but it needs doing because putting all this stuff in place and then moving the engine won't really work too well for me. I'll probably already have to alter the exhaust mount. So yeah, I'll stick that back in. Might give it a little touch up of paint first. Right, so that's both mounts adjusted. I cut another piece out the top of that and drilled another hole. I was going to cap over the other bit, but I thought there wasn't any point, so I just left it be. that has now, what I was aiming to do really was get that crankshaft, centre of that crankshaft centred between the two chassis legs, so that the pulley would be about centred in that hatch. It was about 30mm over. It probably at the end of the day wouldn't make a huge difference. The CV joints would make up that difference, but it doesn't make any sense to put extra strain on something. Again, it probably wouldn't actually do anything, but I'm happier with that. That's where it should be. Crankshaft right down the centre of the vehicle. Yeah, so that's that. I'll show you the bottom one now that it's just in place. So it's just shortened in. Need to tighten that down. And that's given me all the clearance I originally wanted around the corner of the sump there, because that was very close to that when it was over that way. So yeah, that was one frustrating little step backwards I needed to take, but kind of meaning to do it for ages, and I was just leaving it. So I'm going to bolt in that header tank bracket now and drop that in for a look. Right, there's the header tank bracket bolted in. Oh, it is hot in here now. So get that tightened down and have a look at it. Right, so I moved the header bottle really because these fittings suit a lot better. They were facing forward. It was tidy in the corner, but and that's kind of the factory position for the fuel filter, and it makes sense. It works easily. My fuel line can shoot down through there, and these hoses are a lot closer to the engine, even though it had to be a bit more of an elaborate bracket. But I still think it looks quite neat, the filter there. Getting a battery in there might be a bit of a nuisance, but I'm sure we'll manage. Right, what next? Right, well, I moved on to intercooler piping. This, I've got all the Audi stuff, so I'll reuse what I can. On the Audi, the front cross member of the chassis was also the boost pipe that carried it back from the intercooler, which was completely rotten away. This will have to be, if I want to use this, I'm going to have to cut it in half and rotate this all the way around so that'll fit onto the airflow meter. This is one of the other pipes. Now, I needed space to run that through there, so I've just taken out the plasma cutter and hacked that panel out of there. As for the plasma cutter, I don't use it a lot, and when I do, I go through consumables like crazy, but that happens because everything I'm cutting is absolute inaccessible junk, either really rusty, covered in paint, or whatever, but it is brilliant when it comes to that crap. It will cut through 10-12mm, and I was told by somebody that these cheap ones weren't great because you have to make contact to strike an arc, and that you couldn't, that when you hit a plate, say, to spark your arc, that it would fill the consumable with plasma, I guess. But I found it no problem. I think it blows through pretty quick. A bit of an angle to start with so that it shoots stuff away, and as long as you make sure that the sparks and everything are coming out the back of the whatever you're cutting, then you're safe enough. But like, consumables are cheap. You get big sets of them on eBay for like, you can get like 100-piece set for 20 quid or whatever. So yeah, I think it's great for that. It does use a considerable amount of air, so the compressor, like it's just a 50-litre compressor I have, that's running pretty much non-stop if I'm cutting. So current draw between that and the compressor is probably pretty high. But for the likes of this, even the holes behind this, there was no way I could get to them to drill them because I had an engine in the way. So I just cut those through, and on the inside I was able to drill it partially, but there's the tow bar plates go through it, so these go through the tow bar plates, and yeah, burnt away through it. It's fine. So like that, and it was fairly damn handy when I was doing the sills as well. So I think that was €115, that one. Why not have one almost? You know? Right, other things there. Just been looking at the piping. This is Audi piping again. May just turn that, run it straight for my rad. Extended this with a piece of oil drain tube. Just hose clamp that. That'll be fine. Just stuck that on there. That's a heater return, but I think that's wrong. I need to suss that out. I have 2 more places that hoses need to go, so I just need to figure out. I think one comes off the head and one comes off of the end of this pipe. I'm not sure what goes to the header bottle here, so I have to look at that. I'll have a look at that later when I'm not out in the shed. So yeah, I'm going to carry on underneath a little. Now for the intercooler, Ultimate Engineering do a cowl to go over the standard intercooler up beside the gearbox to tunnel air up through it. I have this, which I think I'm going to rework. It's actually just an old stainless steel gas stove out of a boat that I've had lying around here for years. But I think I have some more sheet stainless steel there as well, so it's kind of about the right size for that intercooler. So it doesn't have to be anything special, it is just to direct air through it and mount it up in place. So I'm going to rework that somehow and do that. Yeah, I'll take another look up there underneath my pipework. So this is the little gear linkage, or not gear linkage, gear change repair, bushing repair. So it comes, there's 2 different sizes. There's a 14mm, which is what this fan has, and a smaller one. Can't remember, is that 12 or maybe 10 or 11, I don't know. Anyway, they send you it with this installed, so that has to be changed to this one. I just found the big bolt and put it in the center and then just press down on it and it comes out. It takes a bit of force, but you just need something that's just right to go over that. If you press these, they just bend, obviously. So I had like an M14 bolt or something that I just stuck down the center of it. So I'm just going to pop this one in, and then I need to clean up the gear stick because ours has had all that mucky welds the night before. So, and I'll get that put in. Okay, so that kind of welded up some way. It's a bit awkward, I don't know what it was supposed to be like before, but it had some kind of old tube raised on and stuff, so I had to go. I actually you have to push out this inner bushing, the entire bushing, to get that other piece back in there. So it comes out easily enough. I just put it up on a clean piece of timber and pressed it down. So yeah, I'm going to stick this back in the van and see how it goes. Right, so these gears now are obviously all in the wrong order, being linked straight to a sat box, but they are actually nice and easy to find now. If it was just me driving this, there's no way I'd be bothered thinking any more about that. I would just get my head around using the gears in the wrong positions. I'm driving different stuff constantly, with all sorts of different gear changes, etc. So it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. I'm sure after, 5 minutes you'd be used to it. Technically they're in the wrong order anyway. I could cut the linkage in half underneath, rotate the piston. There's a piston there that makes it hard to push over to get reverse and first generally, but that's probably something like 4th and 5th now. So that could be rotated to change that, but so that's I don't even know what way they are now. I'll have to see when the man's driving. But there, I can put it in and out of gear, and getting closer and closer to being able to move it about. So yeah, clutch is high on the to-do list at the moment. The fridge is there, living upside down for a little bit, following recommendations on that. Now the fridge, I plugged it in and left it there for a day on 220 volt, and it's 240, and it's actually working fine. Freezer box is working and the fridge is working. The gas side of it I'll have to look into afterwards. Yeah, I'm not really working on this right now, just having a look around to see is there any quick easy jobs I can do. Right, so I was going to add more to this video, and because I have a bunch of stuff to do now and I have a couple of days to get on with stuff, so I was going to do a bit more, but I think I'm just going to wrap this video up there, and I'll get another one up as soon as possible with a bit more stuff going on. I haven't been here at all in the last week, so I haven't been able to get anywhere with it. There is a storm due to start now in the next hour or so, so that leaves me stuck here in the shed for at least the next 2 or 3 days anyway, and I have a bunch of stuff here to get on with things, so I will be getting at that. So I'll leave this one at that. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will hit the like button as well if you don't mind. So thanks, and I will see you next time. Cheers.